Hi, welcome to the second episode of Photoshop Lightroom TV. I'm Marek Mularczyk from Site Training, and welcome. Last week, in our first episode, we looked into importing images into Lightroom. And I've got some more information for you today. Now, what else are we going to cover in Photoshop Lightroom TV? It's all about photography, Photoshop and Lightroom, and photography as well. We'll be talking about cameras and lenses as well. This Photoshop Lightroom TV as well. So last week we've started importing images into Lightroom. Now we're going to move on from that and we'll see what next. After you've imported your images into Lightroom, the next step would be to have a look on them. Go through all the images, maybe reject some images, make a decision whether you want to remove the images from your hard drive or do you want to just remove them from Lightroom. Lightroom gives you this option as well. Maybe select some best images, some pics, as we call them in Lightroom. And then move on to develop module to develop them. Before we move on into tutorial, and now the tutorial part. As I told you before, I do have a tutorial for you. So let's start with our tutorial. Okay, welcome. I'm here inside Lightroom, Adobe Photoshop Lightroom 3. I'm using the third version of Lightroom, the latest one. On the left hand side you can see the file section here, the folders tab, and I'm inside 06 Olympic Stadium folder, the one I imported last time on our tutorial. And I can see the previews of the images here in the center. First of all, you can change the size of the thumbnails. I'm happy with this size of the thumbnail, so I'll leave it as it is. And the first thing we'll do here is here inside of library panel, or library module as it's called in Lightroom. I'm going to look through the images and see which images might be rejected. I'll use a couple of keyboard shortcuts. First of all, I want to expand the space, the workspace inside of application quite a bit. So I'm going to press the F key on my keyboard to get rid of the navigation bar on the top. So just pressing F key to go to full screen mode. I'm going to leave the menu. That's okay. Right. Now I'm going to double click on the first image to zoom it into the loop view. So I'll just double click on that. Now it's in the loop view. The next step will be to press Shift and Tab on the keyboard. This will get rid of all the panels. So I can see the image in a big size. And the last thing to do here will be to press the L key on the keyboard to dim the lights out. Okay. Now I'll quickly go through images and see if any images should be deleted or rejected. So this one is quite okay. I'll just move on for these images. These look quite like duplicates. This is the Olympic Stadium. This one is very dark and is very similar to the previous images. So I'm just going to press the X key on the keyboard and the image is set as rejected, and I'll move on to the next image. By the way, I'm using the arrow keys on the keyboard, right arrow key, to move between different images. Going to the next one. These are the images for the panorama. We're going to talk about panoramas in a different video. Okay, this looks good. That looks fine. This is interesting. I'm going to use, oh, this one is out of focus, so I'll press X key to reject it. Next one, this is okay. This looks interesting, I like that, so I'm just going to press P key to set it as a picked, flag as pick. Looks good. Moving to the next one. Oh, that's just okay. This is very interesting, so I'll make it a pick as well. It's good. Maybe I'll make this one a pick as well. So I got another pick. Then I move to next image. This is very interesting. I'll make it another pick. And it's okay. Quickly moving through the images. And that's okay. These are the flags for the Olympics that will be later on turned into flats for sale for people who live here in London. That's okay, looks good. This is another session, another set of images. This is the video, that's another video, and this is the night shot, and I'm going to lift that. This is the last image. I'm going to press Alt key twice to go back to the original view. I'll press Shift Enter to get rid of this full screen mode, and I'll press G to go back to the grid view, or you can also click on this icon here instead of pressing the G key on the keyboard. Okay, now if I scroll through the thumbnails here at the bottom, I can see the rejected images. It's this one here and this one here. I can also see the flagged images. There's one here, 2, 3, 4. It looks like there's 4 of them. Okay. Now what I could do is I would normally move into the develop module and start developing the images. You can do some quick adjustments in the library module, quick develop section, but we don't really use that because it's not that precise as the develop module. So I'm going to stop here, and in the later video we'll do some editing to the images in the develop module. For now there will be that, and I'm back to the studio. Welcome back, I'm Marek Mularczyk once again. This was the tutorial about Lightroom. Now, because there are, I assume you who watch this may be interested in Lightroom, some people may be interested in Photoshop only. The show is about Photoshop and Lightroom. So I thought about showing you another tutorial, this time in Photoshop. From now on I will try to mix and match. If there's enough time, I'll try to create one tutorial in Photoshop and one tutorial in Lightroom. So now let's move on to Photoshop, and this time I'm going to show you how to crop in perspective in Adobe. Here I am in Photoshop, and here's the Photoshop trick for this week. I'm here in Photoshop and I'm going to show you how to crop with perspective. Sometimes when you take a photo from a side, the image is slightly crooked. This is called a keystone distortion. So I'm going to crop this image and straighten this part with the map of Faro in here. I'll start with the crop tool. With the crop tool, I'm going to click and drag anywhere on the image, not that important. Okay, now I'm going to click on perspective option here in the options bar, and I will adjust the corner handles to the corners of the area on the image that I want to be cropped with perspective. Just the map only. Here, this looks quite good. I'm going to extend the area like so, maybe even more than that. Maybe I'll lift some background here. I'll just leave the image itself. Okay, good. That will be fine. And I'll just click on accept here in the options bar to commit the transformation, and this will crop the image with the perspective. So much better than the image before. That was a quick tip, and that's the last tutorial for today.